Hi there, it's Carol. I was going to show you a couple of things about the chocolate real quick. As you already know, the milk chocolate is always very creamy. Once it's melted to the right temperature, you can pretty well pour it. It has smoothness, a texture that's really rich and creamy. The white chocolate by nature is never going to be that creamy. It doesn't have the same cocoa butter, it doesn't have as much of the cocoa fats, and it doesn't have as many of the milk fats. Therefore, it's always grainy. Even when it's at the same temperature as the milk chocolate, it is going to have a grainy look to it. It's just the molecules. It's nothing that you're doing right or wrong. It is just the nature of the beast. Even though it looks kind of grainy, go ahead and give it as good a stir as you can. When you put this into a piping bag, it acts different than the milk chocolate as well. By piping bag, I'm talking about these Wilton bags. I've mentioned these a couple of times before. It's just a frosting bag. It's like 20 bucks for 100 of them at a Michael's or Walmart or anything else. Just see the tip of it right there. Go ahead and cut about 1/4 inch off the top and put your wafers directly into it. Not the melted stuff, but your wafers. Once the wafers are in it, you can go ahead and twist the bottom of it shut a little bit. Don't worry about that hole. Pop it into a bowl about like this. I prefer plastic because the plastic won't burn you as bad when you try and pull it back out of the microwave. Glass retains heat a whole lot more than plastic. But I had put my red wafers in here, and I stuck it in the microwave, and I do it for about 20 seconds at a time. In between, mashing on it, looking to see if you can find any lumps in there. Once you've gotten rid of all the lumps, it is the right temperature. Don't let it get too hot. If it gets too hot, it does this weird thing where it cracks and it scalds on the inside, and it actually becomes sharp to the touch. Once you've done it, you'll know exactly what I mean, and you'll never do it again. But once it's in the bag and you've got that little tip cut off of it, then it's really easy. Make sure you've got your plastic not only twisted, but folded back down on it, so if you can see the grip that I have here. When you've got that grip, then you apply that pressure, and it's really easy to do your drizzle work. It comes out like a charm. It will hold its warmth a little better in the bags than it actually does in the bowl. Of course, you can't dip in the bags, but it is excellent for doing your drizzle work. When you're done with your drizzle work, just mash the end of it back a little bit so that your tip is kind of clear, and set it aside to cool. Once it's cooled, it is hard in there. You can heat it back up, you can store it, do whatever you want. I always just leave it in the bag. I have a bowl that I use for actual dipping, and I have bags of each of the colors for doing the drizzle work later. Got a little red on me. Okay. The point of it is that the white is going to always be grainier than the milk chocolate. There's nothing you can do. And even when you pick it up and you do this with it, it wants to create a bit of a mountain in the bowl. It never lays down smooth. Again, it's just the nature of the beast. It's not that big a deal. It looks more stiff than it actually is. It gives you the impression that it's got body to it like frosting, when in fact, it is melted. Once you've got these things skewered, don't be afraid. Dip it in there. Don't ask it. Own it. And I know they said to go ahead and whack it, but if you do, because the white chocolate has its own properties to it, it is going to be more likely to knock your strawberry loose from your skewer. So you're going to have the white is on there a little thicker than the milk chocolate anyway. And if it wants to continue drizzling, give it a small spin in your fingers. It sets up relatively quickly. And there you've got your white one. Now, because it is stiffer than the milk chocolate and it doesn't want to come off as easily, especially when it's humid outside, sometimes it's easier to just spoon it on there. I use either this little flat spat or a tablespoon. Make sure it's thoroughly coated. In high humidity, the milk chocolate is going to misbehave more. When it's been raining outside for a day or two, it's much more difficult to make the chocolate actually cooperate. If you do spoon it on here, though, it is going to require a little bit of a tap for that smooth texture on the outside. Not much of a tap. It can't handle the same kind of rapid tapping that the milk chocolate can do. But just a little bit to remind it to let go of its bubbles and develop a smooth skim. Again, if you end up with too much of it at the base, just a little bit of a twist, a couple of times, and there you've got your strawberry. Anytime they add color to white chocolate, it increases the misbehavior. Because you're putting something else, it's just another ingredient that it has to incorporate in. So don't worry about it if it looks a little bit grainy. It's not that big a deal. Again, it's nothing you did wrong, and there's not much, if anything, you can do about it. It's going to be the humidity, it's going to be the product itself. When all is said and done, you'll see, except for I have a little bit of a drip right here, it's very smooth. All of that grit disappears as it cools. So, once they are actually there and ready to go, of course I let them set up a little bit longer before I actually did this for a delivery product. But you got your drizzle bag, you got your pressure going, and just the lines back and forth. 50% turn, lines back and forth, and there's your strawberry. The chocolate is going to be thinner. It's going to want to run off your strawberries. It'll always be smoother. The people who are receiving this are seeing the whole basket. They're not seeing your individual strawberries. They're not going to be critical. You're looking at it through hypercritical eyes because you are making it. The people who are receiving it just see the whole bouquet. They don't see the individual components. Don't worry about it. It's not 100% perfect. They are not going to know. If you have any more questions, give me a holler. I'll be more than happy to help. I hope this helped. And believe me, you're better at this than you think.